I knew nothing about Palm Springs going in. All I knew is that it has been absolutely blowing up everywhere. And when the first incident happened, I was like, another one of these, huh? Pretty much this is another one of those time loop movies that's been coming out each year recently. This one emphasizes on nihilism more. I think it's pretty funny how the two leads play off each other. I think worked really well. The pacing is really great. I didn't check the time once. And the performances hit most of the notes. It has everything you expect though. It has the montage, the suicide attempts, the romance. I like the bright color, whether it's the lighting or costumes, and it has a fantastic antagonist to contrast the hero. Sure, it does play with perspective a little bit and shuffle around the sequences a bit more. The thing I'm struggling to comprehend is how is this any different than any other time loop movies, and I'm not even saying anything negative about the film. I enjoyed it again, but this one is getting some extra special attention. And all of y'all who complain about how Hollywood only recycles material, Palm Springs gets a B+, and it can vary depending on which angle you look at it. Greyhound is the 1917 without the cinematography, the Midway without the bullshit, the Fury without the brotherhood, and the Dunkirk without the music. Doesn't mean it's bad. I really enjoyed Greyhound actually. This one barely has any characterization and development, which is where the main criticism is coming from, and I completely understand that. Some people may want to have characters to cling on to, especially when the film is trying to reach for a catharsis at the end. However, even though it really does feel hollow and empty, I enjoy the action-packed nature of it. I think it's about 80 minutes without the credits, and I would say probably 70 of them are all actions. It's a series of terrible situations thrown at the characters and how they deal with them. Objectively, Greyhound is hollow, the characters are extremely passive, and there's no attempt at remotely building them up to the slightest. Subjectively though, it's totally up to you if those things matter to you. I don't, and I have fun with it. I like a lot of the tracking shots where we follow Tom Hanks back and forth in this ship. The constant radar beeping in the sound mix I thought was really smart. The grayish black and white color palette feels ruthless, and the score I thought was pretty good until I listened to it, that is, because this high-pitched wailing sounds that's pushing the sequences in the film is nowhere to be found in the actual score. I liked it. I understand if this ain't for you, but Greyhound gets a B. Archive is a budget sci-fi about this guy trying to create an AI bot with all of his late wife's traits, her memories, her personality, etc. At first I thought it was okay, and for the most part I was on board. I like the makeup, I also like the actual costume they have on set for these robots. Could be a budget thing, but it's definitely a lot better to have real objects for the actors to interact with. It is mostly shot in wider angles, and this is yet another film that has this grayish, sometimes almost black and white color palette. It is when the subplots start kicking in does the film feels a little whimsy and unnecessary. To break it down, there are two major components plot-wise: the main character trying to achieve his goal and this company trying to scoop around. These two elements feel so off, so far away from each other. You never feel they're in the same story. Archive also has, in my opinion, one of the most boring character designs I've seen in a while. Also, why is this film set in Japan? Well, because words you can't read make it look more intellectual, that's why. And the last 30 minutes, once a plot point is revealed, the film took a major dive for me, and that ending, I know it's gonna spark conversation. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm feeling a 3 on this thing. Tape is a Me Too movie. It is based on true events, and this one really is a huge misfire for me because it has a lot of anger behind it. Like there's something on the filmmaker's chest that's just waiting for it to be lifted and screamed out, but the execution and the actual delivery of said wrath is a whole nother thing. The film decides to follow a woman who we don't know nothing about, who we don't understand for the most of the runtime. You have theories, you have guesses, and it is told through her lens. Quite literally. There are a lot of POV shots really trying to get the viewers there, but the film looks ugly. There's barely a single good shot in this entire movie, which by the way, I'm sure is intentional. There's a lot of shots where we cut to a POV shot of the main character looking at an iPad. The thing is, it's so distracting. We're looking through a POV, which is shot on handheld, which means it's shaking. The hands holding the iPad are also shaking because there's micro movements. On top of that, The footage of which we are seeing on the iPad is twitching in and out of focus and shaking as well. To simplify, it's a pain in the ass to watch visually. There's an intercut sequence that made no sense at all. The colors are as flat as it can be, and the whites in the film dominate the entire screen, which is frustrating because there seems to be a few good ideas behind the thing with a very important message, and Isabel gave a very vulnerable, very soft performance as well. But at the end of the day, it's one of those where the message justifies the actual execution. It is a movie I find has very little artistic merits because ultimately it focused more to scream for help rather than making a film. Go watch The Assistant. I'm feeling a solid D on this thing. What do you think of these 4 movies?